John here. So in this video I'm going to go through this Yngwie thing you just heard, and you're not going to see my face, so you're welcome. I'm going to put the camera like that. And basically what this is one of the first things I learned to alternate pick when I started out. And obviously when I say that, some students of mine have been like, what, did you play this within the first year of starting playing the guitar? No, I didn't. I did in the way that I could do it like this. Right? So it was still important for me to learn it though, because I found that when I learned anything I was curious about, it really made me want to practice more, because once you realize that, oh, that's all it is, it's just that I can't play it up to speed, then it really helped me to push myself a bit more when it came to the practicing, because I could see that, you know, I'm here and the things that I want to play are over here, but it's not really that difficult to play per se. It's just very difficult to do it, I would say even impossible to do it at that point at the tempo that was required. But it really pushed me to work on my overall technique, and I found that was a really good thing to do. So I've never sort of red taped myself from things. You know, sometimes I get students that are asking me about, well, what song should I learn? What level should I start at? And you can't really say that, because it depends on what you've been doing before. You might be super good at sweep picking and absolutely suck at rhythm guitar, right? That wouldn't be the ideal situation, but that could be the thing if you spend more time there. So it's all gonna depend on what you've been doing before. So the best thing that I've found is to actually just learn whatever I want to learn, meaning anything that sounds interesting. And when I say learn it, I just want to be able to play it, you know, at 50% of the speed, because once I get to that point, I just know that it's a matter of time, might be a matter of a lot of time, before I can get up to the actual required speed. And this doesn't only mean, you know, fast picking stuff or soloing. It can be rhythm stuff, it can be, you know, any type of thing you play on the instrument. But I don't red tape myself, meaning I don't cut myself off and feel like, no, I'm not at that level yet. So if you have trouble with motivation, try that, because the only thing you're going to find out is that, oh, okay, this might be a few years off, but then that's fine. And then you can see also where you're lacking, and then you can start getting better in those areas. And not only by practicing the thing you just learned, but working on your general technique for that specific thing. Now, if you want the tabs for this one, and also a great workout with a backing track that will help you learn this faster and improve faster from it, you can find that over at my Patreon. You have a link in the description. And you basically get a separate section in the Patreon version of this video where I go through the workout, and you also get the tabs, and you also get the backing track for this particular workout. And the backing track is just a metronome with quintuplets. So it's not this big elaborate backing track, but it's going to be really helpful for you when you practice this in the way that I describe in that video. But you will still get a ton out of this one, I promise. This is a real beast to play, especially when you use the fingering that I use. And I say that not because I think, you know, that's better than the way that Yngwie does it. Yngwie tends to avoid using the third and fourth finger together. So for the first shape here, he would play it 1, 2, 3. And also, I have big hands, but I think he has humongous hands, so he have no issue playing 1, 2, 3 anywhere on the fretboard. So I don't think that's the best solution for everyone. And then when it comes to these whole steps, he would do it with 1, 2, 4. But like I said, he rarely does 3, 4 together. Now, I don't think it's a good idea to build your technique based on any other player's idiosyncrasies, meaning that Yngwie likes to start every new string with a downstroke when he alternate picks. I think that came about just because he played things in a certain way, and he did whatever was comfortable for him. And the key word here is for him, right? So a much better approach, I feel, is to learn the music from your favorite players. And if there's a certain thing that they do that contributes to the actual sound, then for sure do that. But don't paint yourself into a technique corner by you know, avoiding using a certain finger or finger combination because that's how X does it. I think that will be a bad approach in the long run. Instead, try to develop your technique to the best extent possible, and I find that the best way to do that is to be a bit more systematic. So, you know, I'm going to leave that up to you, but if you follow this fingering that I'm showing you here, I think you'll get more out of it than if you try to stick to, you know, whatever way Yngwie did it. So I'm going to divide this into a few different sections, and if you just learn this scale on the high E string, so we're going to go 13, 12, 10, then we got 8, 7, 5, and then finally 4. If you connect all that together, we basically get an A harmonic minor scale. And it's important to see these notes because that's the positions we're going to use when we play this pattern. And then the pattern goes like this. Right, so if we number the notes from left to right, 1, 2, 3, the pattern goes 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. All alternate picks starting with a downstroke. And I tend to favor this one finger per fret position, so I would go 1, 4, 3, 4 in this one. Then I move it down, I would go 1, 4, 2, 4. You could also go 1, 4, 3, 4. If you're Paul Gilbert would do that, for example. And then you move it down, the logical one would be 1, 4, 2, 4. And then you move it down again. And now we're back to the same type of fingering we had up here, but down here. So when you do that, you're going to do it twice in each position. So you're going to go like this. So that's section 1. Then section 2, you're going to do the same positions again, but we're going to do this kind of pattern. Now, you might have noticed that I added this position now, right? And that's what we're going to do just at the end of this section. So we're going to go, basically, if we just look at the first note of each group, it will be. And then once we reach this note again, A, we're going to play that twice. So we're going to go 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. After that, we're going to do this pattern. I'm going to play it first so you can see what I mean. So we're going to go like this. So again, we get these kind of skipping patterns, but we're going to skip up now. So we're going to go once there, and then we're going to skip up to the same note that we just played with the pinky with your index finger. And then we go back to the one in the middle. So we're going to go like that in terms of the starting note. So 1, 1, 1, 2. Move up to the one we came from and do the same thing. But adhere to the scale positioning. So the way you can look at this pattern would be to see the notes on the beat again. So we go 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. All right. So that's the complete thing on a single string. Now the last bit here is going to go down this shape that Yngwie uses a lot. And you can see this as part of the harmonic minor scale again, but we never play the C note. So it's kind of like going to the 5 chord. So it's kind of this diminished thing. You can view it in several different ways, but the fingering is very easy. So you have 13, 12, 10 on the high E string. Then you go down to 12, 10, 9. Right, so 3 notes per string, and then we repeat that 1 octave lower, and then again 1 octave lower. So that's the actual scale shape. Now we're going to go down in the same pattern as we did before. So then on the way back here, I've seen a lot of different transcriptions of this, and I think most of them are wrong. So I think when he goes back up again, he doesn't go like that, especially not on the last string here, because this doesn't make sense musically. Because I'm gonna show you what I mean here. So basically from here, when he goes to the low E string, he changes the pattern to and that's the way I'm playing it, at least. I've seen it transcribed in a few different ways, but the way that I would avoid at all costs is doing this. It just sounds wonky because you have a leading half step here going back to the root note, and it sounds really weak to go from a tension to a resolution with a whole step when you actually have a half step available, and one of the strongest half steps in music theory as well, because this is something we hear everywhere. And even though this note is part of it, it's not as strong. So if you absolutely want to play that, go ahead, but I'll look at you with a slight weird look on my face. Anyway, let's try this whole thing going down. So even though this might seem awkward, he actually does the same thing on the same album. It might even be the song after, I think. It's Disciples of Hell. It's something like that type of thing, right? So it's not, you know, out of his wheelhouse. So that's what I'm gonna go with. If you want to change it up and look at some other transcriptions, that's fine. But I think this sounds the best. Now, when you want to practice this, one thing that I suggested to do, besides going to Patreon and getting the full workout, of course, that would be the absolute best thing. Second best thing would be to work on it on the high E string. So we're basically talking about the single string picking thing here, which is kind of the main thing, for me at least, where you get the most out of this one. And you do that, you know, play it through a few times, very slowly, and getting everything correct. And then you can try doing it again on the B string. So basically we're going to change keys as well. So it doesn't really matter. Just keep the same frets. So you're going to play the B string instead. So you're going to go. And you go through the whole thing again. You can go as far as where this would start. And that's what I would do, right? And then you do the same thing on G string. D string, A string, and the low E string. And that's a really good way of approaching it, because then you get to work on all 6 strings as well. And obviously if you have 7 strings or 8 strings, you do that. And when it comes to this one, you know, that one, I would just do that starting on each fret and start as low as you can go. And this is the lowest note of the actual phrase. It's the 4th fret. So if you go down, build up the scale from there, and you can see that you can start from here, and then you just go. Do that a few times, and you move up a fret. And so on until you reach the very top of your instrument. So that's a great way of expanding that part as well. And a final thing here that's really effective is to play through a smaller section and then accenting each note in turn. So let's say we just work on the second section here, where you sort of skip around a lot. That part, right? So the first time around you would accent the 1. So you go to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? And then you do the second note, so that would be the upstroke. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then do the third and then the fourth. And then you can move on and do the same on the B string, D string, D string, A string, E string, and so on. And of course you can do that with these as well. So all that kind of stuff helps you to be more focused. And the accents will also help you to make sure that each note is actually synchronized. So that's a really, really big deal when it comes to working on this, because you don't want to find out that, you know, it's only the first note that's on the beat is actually synchronized, and then you have a lot of fluff here in between. So you don't want to do that. So to get the most out of this and pretty much anything else you're working on, you just want to make sure that you're not putting in any bad reps in your brain when you work on it. And then once you worked on it properly, you've done a lot of good reps, you can of course try to do it faster. You need to try that as well. But initially I would just focus on really getting everything as synchronized as possible, and that will be the fastest way forward.